Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching.
Well, as you've seen from the title, I'm going to attempt to make apple butter again. I only made apple butter once, I think that was 2 years ago, and I made it the really old-fashioned way on top of the stove, stirring it forever to get it down to the proper consistency. And after I had done that, several people who saw the video told me that you could do that with a slow cooker or a crock pot, whatever you want to call them. I do have one of those, and that's what I thought I would do this year, but I thought I would check and see if there's an Instant Pot recipe, and there are several. So I have my Instant Pot sitting here, I can show you, ready to go. If you don't know what an Instant Pot is, it's basically a pressure cooker, but an intelligent pressure cooker. It has dozens of different settings that you can do. This particular recipe, you don't even peel the apples after they have cooked in the Instant Pot. You use a submersion blender, and the peelings are so soft that they blend right in, hopefully. Anyway, I'm using 3 different kinds of apples from my 3 apple trees that are providing. This is a pumpkin sweet. Always reminds me of a Granny Smith. It's much harder than a Granny Smith. It's not really meant to be a dessert eating apple. It's a good storage apple and great for cooking, for pies and all that sort of thing. And they will store for several months in a cool room. I've had them last until the new year. This is Macintosh. I have one dwarf Macintosh tree. Supposed to be grows on a dwarf rootstock. Never produces anything much larger than that, and this is a good year for it. It's got more apples on it than I've ever seen, but I haven't paid any attention to the tree in years. I haven't pruned it. I never spray. I don't have any desire to ever spray with pesticides or anything like that. I guess there are organic things that you can do, spraying with dormant oil spray or something early in the spring, and I haven't done that in many years either. And this is Dolgo, a crab apple. Didn't have enough on the tree. It's so small tree. Didn't have enough to make crab apple jelly, so they're all going into my apple butter. And the instructions for this recipe, you just take the flesh off the apple this way, leaving the core behind. I think I have to do a little paring. I think that's part of the core. But they go in the Instant Pot just as they are. They've been washed, they're clean, and they just go in to cook this way with some seasonings and other ingredients that I'll show you later. I'll bring you back once I have, it's 5 pounds of apples before you start coring them, so I'll bring you back once I have them all cored and we're ready to add the other seasonings. Well, as you can see, the Instant Pot is almost full of the apples after I finished coring them. To that you add a ½ cup of water. The Instant Pot comes with a trivet, and it didn't say to use it, but I left it in the bottom. The recipe said that they had comments from people that were getting the Instant Pot saying it was going to burn, and when it says that, it shuts down. And that would be because there wasn't enough liquid in there. So I put the trivet so that the liquid will stay down below the apples, hopefully, and I won't run into that problem. If you do run into that problem, you just have to wait for it to depressurize and add a little liquid to it. But a ½ cup of brown sugar, packed brown sugar, I guess, for the looks of it. a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice, which I just happened to have. I guess you could make up your own tablespoon of seasonings that you use in pumpkin pie, usually cinnamon, ginger. Some people put some cloves in. A dash of salt, so I'm just going to put 2 or 3 grinds of salt. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and again I'm using the commercially bought lemon juice because it's a standardized product and has the right amount of acid. But you don't add that until the cooking procedure is over with. Actually, if you look at the recipe that I'm using, I'll put the link down below. It doesn't mention at all canning them. It does mention adding the other way around might help. There we go. Locked on. It doesn't mention canning them, but I looked up another recipe for canning them, and you would add the lemon juice just the same as this says to do. And I will be canning them in the hot water bath 15 minutes once the hot water bath returns to a boil, and then shut the heat off after it's done its 15 minutes and let it sit for 5 minutes before you bring out the bottles. Okay. "15 minutes this goes at high pressure," and that I believe is what I have set. And with mine you don't have to press anything again, it just, after so many seconds of, there we go, it's on. It isn't actually at pressure or anything, it will let you know when it's at pressure, do its 15 minutes. After that you shut it off, which is going to, mine is set now to shut off automatically anyway, but you let it rest for 15 minutes and a lot of the pressure will disappear, then you vent out whatever pressure is left. So bring you back and see what kind of a product we get when this comes off the cycle here. It has cooked for 15 minutes and then it has rested for 15 minutes. Still has some pressure, so I'm going to vent the pressure that's left. This little round metal thing there that you can't see, but once the pressure has gone down enough so that it's safe to open it, the little metal thing drops down so that you can't see it. I'll bring you back when that happens, I guess. There was more pressure there than I thought there was. I spoke too soon. It was only a few seconds later and the thing dropped out of the way. The first thing I've got to do is try to find the trivet that's down in the bottom there somewhere. It worked. It didn't give me any problems with saying it was going to burn or anything. Okay. Get a better camera angle and I'll show you down inside before I start blending it with my immersion blender. Okay, now I'm going to blend it and see whether I think it's thick enough for apple butter. If it isn't thick enough, there's a saute setting on the Instant Pot, and you switch over to saute and have to continue stirring it. Well, sorry if that was terribly boring, but I wanted to make sure that the peelings were all well mixed in here. And now to see whether or not I think I would like it a little thicker than that. That's more like an apple sauce than an apple butter. So my next step is going to be to turn this over to saute and continuing to stir it as it thickens. So I'll bring you back when I think I have it thick enough. Well, I only stirred it for a few minutes and it seemed to thicken up quite nicely. Actually, it was thickening up and spitting gobs of it into the air, which was about the temperature of molten lead, I think. So I stopped that. Now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You might be able to hear my canner bubbling away in the background there. It's ready to go. The lemon juice just increases the acidity, makes it safer for canning it. I'm trying to get it mixed in well. And I think also once this is canned and cools, it will become thicker. It's very hot there now. I'm supposed to make 3 to 4 pint jars, so I've got 4 ready, but I'd be surprised if I get more than 3, I guess. Don't dump it on the floor either. I tasted it, by the way. It tastes very good. Pumpkin pie spice was the right thing to put in it, I guess. Kicking a tripod doesn't help a bit. That one's full enough. The jars have been sterilized, and so have the lids. The lids have been in hot water for quite some time now. The rings don't have to be sterilized, they never come in contact with the food. And I will continue filling and show you what I get when I'm ready to put it in the canner. And as you can see, the water is boiling fiercely. And I only got 3 pints, just about exactly enough. For 3 pints. A few tablespoons left in the bottom of the Instant Pot. That will give me a chance to test my theory of it thickening up when it gets cooler. Well, now, once that water returns to a full boil, which it's doing pretty quickly there, 15 minutes at a full boil, and then shut the heat off for 5 minutes before I remove them. So I'll bring you back when it's time to take them out of the hot water bath. Well, they've had their time in the hot water bath. I also did take a few tablespoons that was left over and refrigerated them for a bit. And it does turn much more solid, like a spreadable butter, once it's cooled off. So hopefully the product in the jars will do the same thing. Thank you very much for watching. If you have some nice fresh apples in an Instant Pot, this is one way of making apple butter. See you in the next video.